Sometimes sailing on the ocean is relaxing. You're completely separated from society. No access to fast internet, no Wednesday team meeting at the office, no socializing with friends on the weekend. Our entertainment involves checking the weather, reading, or watching movies. Sometimes we may see a ship go by, or watch in amazement as the birds fly so far away from land. We even enjoy the flight of the flying fish from time to time. Sometimes we even find ourselves a bit bored, but that time is usually meant to conserve energy, because inevitably, when crossing an ocean, something is bound to go wrong. And it's about overcoming those obstacles along the way that make the story worth sharing. Welcome to Sailing Sweet Ruca. I'm Kate and this is Curtis. We are two racing sailors from the Midwest that decided to sell it all, buy a boat, and sail around the world the hard way via Cape Horn. We like to take the sea less traveled, so click subscribe and come along for the ride.
Good morning from the sweet Ruca. We are past the equator, continuing to head south. We are just getting to about the level of the tip of Brazil, which is really a key spot because that is really hard to get around, and we're going to be happy to be around that. And then we're going to find our next place to stop in and reprovision. But for right now, we've got a heck of a squall hitting us with a good 25 knots of wind and some nice choppy waves and really dark sky and some rain. Looks like there is more of it to come. We'll see how long it lasts. Right now we have 3 reefs in our mainsail and we've got our jib rolled up pretty well. Probably the equivalent of 3 reefs in that as well. And we're just cruising along. We're kind of set up for anything so we don't have to make a whole lot of sail changes. It's a little slow, but it's not too bad. It maybe costs us half a knot here or there, but then we're set up that we can take these 25 knot blows without any issue or having to go out on deck and handle anything. So it's a little bit more laid back and easy. We can just turn the boat down a little and go. Enjoy. Cape's down here. How's it going?
Good, just waking up. Nothing like waking up to a squall. we had noticed a line dangling from our mainsail that shouldn't be. Our leech cord had broken. This is a line that trails from the head of the sail down the back edge and reduces fluttering while improving sail shape. Without it, your sail could flap itself ragged and eventually tear or shred itself. It was pertinent that we get it fixed before any more squalls or a big breeze came our way, so we started by taking it down all the way, a tricky feat in these conditions. What we thought was going to be an easy fix ended up being quite difficult, which is actually how life goes. The combination of easing the lazy jacks to let the sail down, roughish seas, and our dodger being in the way made this repair take much longer than expected, and now we were fighting against the daylight. Our plan was to connect spare dynema to the old leech cord that was still attached to the head of the sail using a wire feeder to bring it back down to the foot. But the thickness of the knot to the feeder had trouble making it past the batten pockets. One of us would feed while the other would hold the sail straight, all while keeping our footing in these waves. We couldn't tie the knot any smaller or it would come loose from the feeder, so our only option was to persevere or remove the mainsail completely, and we really didn't have time for that. Alas, after much fighting with the wire and sail, we finally completed the temporary repair before it got completely dark. But not before the cameras died. The next day we noticed our pedestal seemed a little loose, so Curtis tightened the bolts, which were most likely damaged during a previous auto jibe caused by the autopilot receiving inaccurate wind readings. Something that would need further inspection once out of the elements. But we weren't the only ones having trouble, it turned out, as many flying fish had mistakenly sacrificed their lives to the sweet Ruca deck. Time to fling their bodies back to sea before they ruin the paint. Just another house chore in the middle of the ocean.
There's Roxy down there.
Okay. Ready?
The trade winds were kicking in, and it was time to make our way southwest towards Brazil. The conditions were quite comfortable without the mainsail, so we sailed on sans mainsail and launched the Spinnaker with bare poles. A first for us aboard Sweet Ruca. Would she keep her stability without the support of the Genoa or the main?
What do you need, babe?
Come real quick. Good.
As it turns out, Sweet Ruca sailed beautifully. However, the autopilot was sounding a bit tired, so it was time to inspect the squeaky sounds coming from our third crew member. Luckily, the weather had calmed, so waves weren't flying in the cockpit. We emptied out the starboard lazarette for Curtis to climb in and check things out. A bolt had wiggled loose, so Curtis tightened it up and lubed up the arm a little, and that was all we could do for now, other than hope that the seas would stay light so the autopilot could get some reprieve. Of course we tried hand steering when we could, but being at sea the longest we'd ever been, we were all starting to get a bit tired. How many more obstacles could we handle? Well guys, it's day 17 and we have worked on the autopilot because he's tired. The leech cord ripped in the main, we fixed that. The bottom of the jib furler came out, we fixed that. And now we are sailing with the Spinnaker Only, so it's pretty good. We'll see what the conditions are, and we're getting closer to Brazil and just having a mighty fine sunset. Hopefully it'll be a really nice night tonight. Not really too much else to say. Catch you guys later.
Hey there, friends at home. We are about 250 miles to the east of Salvador, Brazil right now, which means we are about halfway down the Brazilian coast. So Brazil is currently closed, and the reason why we're headed in there is because we're going to request an exemption to be able to come in order to make repairs. Our autopilot can no longer steer in wind mode, which is really critical for us, being double-handed and being able to sail in following seas like what we're sailing in right now. You can see that I'm hand steering, and that's because under autopilot in compass mode, it just can't steer the boat in these conditions. The wind has shifted and lightened from the north more than the east. So what we're trying to do is get a little bit south. There's going to be a convergence zone here where there's going to be some rain and some big shifts. And we think that being further south is going to benefit us more than being on the other jibe and being further west. What we're really worried about is a possible big low that's going to come off of the very south of Brazil and Uruguay. It's forecast right now to be about a 980 millibar low, which is a big, big low. That's a storm. And we really don't want to be messing with that, especially down here in the South Atlantic. The lows spin in the other direction, which mean rather than sending winds counterclockwise, they send them clockwise. And what that's going to do is face us with some really, really big winds, 30 or 40 knots upwind, which we definitely don't want to sail in. So we're going to try, sail a few days here, get into port, get things fixed, wait through this storm, and then get on our way again. So that's our update. See you later.
Please bring nice, gentle cleaning reins with you. Gentle.
All right, the rain and wind is starting. You can see this huge front over here. We've been anticipating this for a few days. We just dropped the Spinnaker, and I think we're gonna get wet now.
It's good because the boat needs a wash anyway. Bad. We decided just to motor because the wind is dead ahead now. Straight up wind. Actually looks like there's about 17 knots, so it went from 9 to 10 knots to 17 knots of breeze. But it is dead ahead, so we are motoring.
Oh, we had to charge the battery.
And we needed to charge the batteries.
What do I believe? What makes me feel it to write you this song?
Wow!
Feels like the Wizard of Oz with all these birds.
5 months in a year.
Roxy,
Oh, I
birds!
loved you too
Birds!
long.
Roxy! Come on, buddy! Come on, you can do it.
You keep blowing me out.
Look at them all. See them? They're everywhere.
I keep asking myself, oh, why do you still hurt?
Look over here.
Why do you still
Hey.
hurt? Who's wrong and who's right?
Wow.
Cannot decide.
Wow.
'Cause
The
I'm
fish.
sober tonight. You keep blowing me out. I keep
Yeah.
holding you in. I keep asking myself, oh, why do you still hurt?
Okay. Go
Why
good.
do you
Good
still
dog.
hurt?
Back retreat. Back retreat. We're out there.
Sailing across the ocean can be relaxing, but it's usually about overcoming all kinds of unforeseen obstacles. The key is being prepared, but you have to MacGyver your way through some of the issues as well. At the end of the day, you hope to see the rainbow because it makes all the hard work that much more worth it. No ocean crossing was ever finished without some stories to share. Stay tuned next week as we get closer to coastal navigation. Ciao for now.